So my detailing van broke down. And thankfully, I have another van out there making money for me right now. Thankfully, I have 2 assets and I've built my company up to that point, but that's why we're here. We're having a van talk without a van. Because I find that the bigger your success becomes, the bigger the goals get, so do the problems, but we have to readjust our framing with those problems in order to tackle them effectively. My problems have elevated over the last 3 years. When I first started my detailing company, the biggest problem facing me day in and day out was, why on earth did I not get any phone calls today? Or I did get a phone call, but that was a cheap customer, and that used to boil my blood. It used to make me want to punch a hole in my wall. I would get so angry when a customer didn't book their little $150 interior detail. Well, now that sort of stuff doesn't stress me out at all, and funny enough, a lot of things don't stress me out. Even when we started up the van yesterday morning to send it out for $800 worth of details, and then it just didn't work, and the steering never turned on, and we couldn't even steer the freaking axle and get the wheels to move, even still, it didn't stress me out. Even though the problem that I'm facing with the van is not only a monetary problem for me, but also, okay, 2 of my guys are now out of work until I figure out a solution. It's not just something that affects me, it's something that is affecting other people around me that I am responsible for. I'm responsible for multiple people's livelihoods, not just my own. That, plus people reach out asking you for money, the more success you have. But I think that people have a completely backwards perception of money and success, at least in the intermediary stages. See, there will come a point in time where you become loaded. Maybe you're a millionaire, a multimillionaire. Maybe you make tens of millions of dollars in your career, but until then, you're broke. Because every last penny, if you want to achieve your goals, is going to have to go back into the business. You might buy nice toys here and there, which is going to make people think that you have all that. But they don't see some of the sacrifices that you're making behind the scenes. And it really pisses me off the way normal people, normies, if I'm allowed to say that word, it really pisses me off the way normies perceive money and success. Well, you're more successful than me, so you should be able to help out, otherwise you're selfish. No, I want to get to a point, and maybe it's a little selfish on my end, but I want to get to a point where I am so abundantly overflowing in my resources where I am able to extend a hand to anyone that needs it. But now is just not that time because I'm over leveraged. I'm overextended. I have people depending on me, employees depending on me, my family depending on me. So many things begin to build themselves around me like a fortress. And it becomes very, very dangerous and very, very difficult to escape that fortress. You begin imprisoning yourself in the responsibilities that you have built for yourself. And when the responsibilities are going well and they are assets to your life, it feels like you're on top of the world. But the moment they become liabilities, it becomes extremely stressful. 2 vans producing $800 to $1,200 a day each, that's almost $2,000 a day consistently that we do with the mobile detailing vans. That feels like you're on top of the world when it's all going well. But then you realize that the moment that it's not going well, then now you have people's livelihoods because you've brought people on board to support that vision of the 2 vans running. You've increased your company expenditure to support those 2 vans, so now that one is down, the expenses still exist. Do you not understand? More success does not mean more liquidity. It does not mean that I'm loaded out of my mind. It may simply mean that I'm over leveraged and actively solving big issues. But the biggest lesson that I've been reflecting on over the last weekend, and I haven't posted on Instagram for the last couple of days because I've just been so slammed. I got 3 hours of sleep last night. I'm on my 3rd coffee of the day. Maybe it's not good, but you cannot act out of emotion. And that is the first thing that you want to do whenever something is not going well. And like I said early on, you didn't get the $200 booking, the $150 booking. I acted out of emotion, got angry. I remember walking into the living room with my family and being like, this freaking person's broke. They're stupid. They didn't pay me $150 for the detail. They didn't want to book because they can't afford it. They're broke. It used to piss me off. But ultimately, the bigger your challenges get, if you can learn to become a man of character in the face of them and be stoic about your emotions, the bigger the problems get, the higher your stress tolerance will become. And hopefully your stress tolerance is one level above the issues in your life. I'm frustrated. I feel like I'm stuck in a rut. I'm very upset that I have this issue that I now have to face. I just put money into the company savings that's going to have to get drained to go fix the van, and I think we're going to buy a third one prepping for the new year. And I'll explain that later, but I just set money aside to have in the cash reserve for the company, to be used for random things like this. But usually you don't want the emergency to tap into the emergency fund right after you put money into the emergency fund. But even though I'm frustrated, I'm finding that I'm actually less emotional about a big issue like this than I was about somebody not booking that $150 detail. Why? Because the problems progress with your character. The two go hand in hand so long as you pay attention to your character in the face of the problems. The biggest thing that I can advise on your entrepreneurial journey, especially if you have big goals. Now, if you want to remain very mediocre, then have mediocre habits. Maybe journal once a week and you'll be fine, because you'll have mediocre problems once a week, journaling, meditation, you're going to be okay. But if you have big ambitions, you need to actively fight, and it is a battle, to give yourself time to think and reflect. I'm not talking about taking a mental health day or sitting around and being like, oh, well, today I'm just going to piss off because I need time for me. That's stupid. Other people are depending on you. You can't do that as a man. You literally cannot afford to piss off and not deal with your problems. But instead, you fight for 30 minutes a day of silence, to read, to pray, to journal, to talk to a friend that you know is wise. Those are active ways that you can fight and uplift your character even in times of uncertainty. And I've been so blessed with my mentors, and that's something that I want to be able to communicate to you guys. Because you must be slow and methodical in your process as you build up your company. Because this too shall pass. The biggest piece of advice that I received over this summer when things were going extremely well, on top of the world this summer, and trust me, I'm still very blessed, we're doing extremely well. It's a little setback, but I do feel in a rut, so I want to remind myself of this. This ultimately is a journal entry to myself, making this video. Problems, they come up, and what can I actively do to fight and uplift myself? I can talk about them, because I've been gifted with this gift of communication, so why not use it to uplift myself and potentially uplift others? So hopefully you've made it this far. And that piece of advice was from my friend John Mark. He said, don't let yourself get too high in the highs or too low in the lows. Very simple what this means, right? When you're on top of the world, don't think you're on top of the world. When you're in the shitter, don't think you're in the shitter. Just kind of sit there, maintain a baseline. Don't be too emotional one way or the other, because this too shall pass, for both the highs and for the lows. But you must learn that everything truly is positioning. I give the advice all the time on my social media for people that say, oh, my biggest struggle is getting customers. I say, well, you must position yourself in the flow of the market, because your problem at that time, at that point in time, is I don't have enough customers. Well, if that's your problem, you must position yourself prior to facing that problem to be able to overcome it. And that's a very easy analogy, very easy to understand. You want more customers? Great. Position yourself to be able to overcome that challenge that's in your way. Now, the problem with that advice is it really is only crystal clear when your problems are small and mediocre. The bigger your problems get, the harder it is to even conceptualize what appropriate positioning is. And look, you may be sitting here saying, well, Hudson, I'm still struggling with the customer problem. I still can't position myself to win there. Trust me, you'll be able to. Practical advice, run some Google ads, go and make connections with wealthy people in your area. You will overcome that problem. But that's a very simple action plan to position yourself to win against that problem. But the thing is, each layer of success comes with unforeseen layers of positioning that must be done. Unforeseen. See, a month ago, when the election happened, Bitcoin hit an all-time high. Not to get too much into crypto, my audience probably doesn't care. Buy some Bitcoin though, long term, it'll be good. But it entered an all-time high. The previous all-time high was like $76,000. It went up to $99,000. That is what is called price discovery. It means there is no certainty of where the asset is going to go because it's at a new all-time high. It is newly finding the potential cap of its price, of its value. It's called price discovery. I have entered into price discovery with my business. I really don't know what problems are going to face me coming forward. But I know they get harder and harder every single time, and very, very easy to say, you know what, screw it, I'm going to maintain this baseline and I'm not going to shoot for anything higher. And I could, bro. Dude, I'm paying myself personally $18,000 a month right now. That's really good. That business makes more. But that's what I'm paying myself. Dude, I could live a crazy life on 18. But does 18 allow me to fully retire my family? Hell no. Have I seen my mom struggle with her health ever since I was 5 years old and know that they're almost $1 million in debt because of medical? Maybe that's too personal to share, but yes. Is 18 a month going to do it for me? Absolutely not. So we have to keep going. And maybe that sticking point for you is lower than it is for me. Maybe you're happier with less, and that's okay. But regardless, the bigger mountain you try to climb, the more price discovery is going to happen in your personal life, with your business, with your struggles. And the best thing you can do is surround yourself with mentors that have been to that difficulty before. Otherwise, it genuinely is like 100% price discovery. You have no idea what's next. So at least you can position yourself to win by surrounding yourself with people that have faced that challenge before and seeking advice. But even still, there will still be challenges. The biggest challenge is not many have done those things before you. You are in price discovery. It's not going to be as simple as saying, oh, I'll just position myself with Google Ads to get customers. I mean, that's what the biggest thing for me early on was. But now I have to position myself to make sure that for whatever reason an employee quits, boom, we have another on reserve. Well, the difficulty with that is the other on reserve, he needs full-time work anyway. So I can't just have somebody on reserve. So how the hell do I position myself to win in that situation? How do I position myself to win if one of the van breaks? How do I position myself to win in the face of these seemingly insurmountable challenges? So what am I proactively doing, right? We just went on that little philosophical spiel, and hopefully it was useful for me. Like I said, journal entry to myself. Very happy to do these. Hopefully they're beneficial. They don't get as many views. Who cares? We're buying a new van, and I'm fixing the old one. Old one, $3,500. Boom. Okay, fine. I just put a decent amount into cash reserve. It's going to eat up a good chunk of it. That sucks, but once again, can't act out of emotion, because regardless of how I feel, that van has to get back on the road. It would be literally brain dead to feel a certain way about it. Why would you feel a certain way about a decision that must be done? If it must be done, don't have feelings about it. There's just no reason to. The feeling will only complicate your ability to execute that which must be executed. And I'm not perfect at doing that. I still get frustrated. Like I said, that's why we're here. This is an outward expression of my frustration. So don't think that I'm perfect in it. I'm, once again, journal entry to myself. But the thing about bringing on a new van is that's going to bring on more risk to myself because we're going to finance it. And the question of financing a company vehicle is very simple. It's a cash flow equation. Okay, it's going to cost me $500 a month to have this new van. Is it going to generate me at least $500 a month? Yes. Will it be on minimum 2 details a month? Yes. Great. We've solved the cash flow problem. But it does bring on additional liability because it is debt for the company. So we're going to bring on a new vehicle this coming year, and I'm going to use it as an opportunity to actually rebrand and revamp myself. Because the silver lining here is we're coming out with Archer's e-commerce products at the start of 2025, a foam can and a ceramic coating, and maybe we're going to get into some other ventures there as well. I'm very excited about it. Now, my Archer's mobile detailing van, the branding that I have for that one is the same logo that I made that was 15. It's okay. I used Canva. I used some tools to make it look professional. But the new logo design that we have for the Archer's products is freaking killer. So I'm going to take the opportunity to buy a new van, put the old one on reserve. We're going to fix it, but it's having issues. It's like 160,000 miles. It's the first van I ever bought. I bought it high mileage. It's all the money I had at the time was like 14 grand to dump onto a used van, whatever. I didn't have any credit at the time. The business was nothing. That's what I had. So we're going to make do with it because it's not going to really make sense to trade it in for $3,000 if it has 15 grand sunk into it between the wrap, the build out, etc. So we're going to keep it, probably use it for the maintenance details. And then the new van is going to primarily be for the brand as I build the brand in the new year. And also, it's going to be for more high-end ceramic coatings because we're going to start getting into that more. Think of it like a shop on wheels. It's going to be sick. Very excited for it. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm going to ramp up the marketing spend, and I'm going to use this time right now to train my guys heavily on sales. Okay? You're out. You can't detail right now. One of the crews can detail. The other guy can't because there's no van. Okay, great. We'll get the van fixed in a week. How can we double down and make you better at sales? That way, when you're back on the field, you're able to make up for the lost time by upselling. I'm going to work on this iPad that I have my notes on, today, as soon as I finish this up, to create a better upsell system. We have an old one on the iPad. It's like outdated. Haven't messed with it in almost a year. I can absolutely crush it. I know I can. I'm going to stay up late tonight working on a better upsell system to use the iPad for. I actually have 2 of these. One of them still in the box. But I'm going to be betting heavy on myself going into 2025. You know, taking on another potential liability like the van, a third van, that is a liability unless I'm able to make it work, then it's an asset. So we're taking a big risk. And I've achieved good success so far, so I'm pretty confident in my ability to do it. You know, the best way to position yourself to mentally accept more risk is if you have a track record of winning in the past. If you don't have a track record of winning in the past, if you're watching this saying, bro, I'm a loser, I just haven't figured it out yet. Okay, reframe. What simple wins can you stack right now to build a track record? And over time, the wins are going to compound, and eventually 3 years later, you'll be in a situation like me where you're like, okay, you know, I've done 60, 70 grand in a month. 2 vans, online business, like I've done it. So like if I want to ramp it up or maybe I fall down a little bit, I can definitely get back up. You know, that's where I'm at. It's an easy equation for me to understand in my head. But I haven't truly built a company yet. So that's why I'm not happy with where I'm at right now. I don't have a company, not yet. My guys are still getting paid as 1099 contractors. I don't have a 401k or health insurance for my guys. No company doesn't have health insurance in the modern world. The guys have to be like in a good position to where they can take care of their families beyond just their paycheck. I know how hard it is to survive in the world. I know so many people that are like, dude, I can't pay my rent. So how can I build a company that's going to facilitate that growth? Here in Texas, our local grocery store, you know how every freaking place has a different grocery store? Random tangent, but our grocery store is called H-E-B. It's a family-owned grocery store. It's in Austin. I think it's in a couple other places in Texas. Anyways, their starting rate is Funny enough, we're talking about not acting out of emotion in frustrating situations. My phone died on the tripod about 5 minutes before I ended it, and I was very happy with how I ended the video. But hey, I'm proud of myself. I don't think I got too mad. Went in, plugged the phone in, came back once it had some battery. Here we are. Phone died. Can't do anything about it. The simple steps are plug the phone in, get more battery, and re-record. What I was saying is the reason why I'm not happy with my current position and I'm not able or willing to press stick and just cash out on lifestyle right now entirely is because I don't have a company. There is a local company here. You know how every state has their own grocery store? Like Florida, you guys have Publix. Some people have like Aldi. There's Winn-Dixie. We've got H-E-B. H-E-B is our grocery store. Locally here, I have people that I know that have worked at H-E-B for like 30, 40 years. That's unheard of in almost any company. Why? Their starting position for being a cashier is $20 an hour. And then you can work your way up from there and actually have equity in the company. They give stock options. It's a private company, but they give some level of ownership and profit sharing to their top level employees as you work your way up. That, my friends, is a company. That's being able to bless and build something that helps your community, because this experiment of free market capitalism that we have a blessing to live in is literally take your skill, monetize your skill, bring other people to help you monetize your skill even more. Yes, you end up at the top of the food chain making the most money at some point, but in the meantime, you build something very, very meaningful for the people that end up a part of it. And I want to get to the point where I genuinely have that. I want a company that can offer healthcare benefits, that can offer a 401k, that can offer some of these things that I know will help my community out. And I want to build a team that cares about one another. So I'm not okay over the next 4 years just washing cars and being self-employed. Being self-employed is selfish to some degree. You know, I feel like it's this way, and I pulled this out of my ass when I was recording it a second ago, and I'll say it again since it didn't get it recorded. Most people are level 0 men. Most people are a level 0 man. You can hardly take care of yourself. You can hardly cover your own bills. You have to rely on other people. You're a leech. That's a level 0 man. A level 1 man is somebody that can take care of himself, but just barely. That's really sad as well. In the next 4 years, you should shoot to be at least a level 3, 4, or 5 man with levels of responsibility beneath yourself, people that you can actually lift up and help. Because what's the whole point of being a man unless you have the ability to help and bless others? That's why we're here. To one, conquer for ourselves and get to enjoy the fruits of our labor. I mean, as a man, I feel so deeply grateful and fulfilled by my work. I want to be able to uplift others, not just my family, but people that are involved. I want to create a brotherhood out of my crew, and it's something that I think about every day. It's very stressful, having to deal with the responsibilities of other people being my own responsibilities. But that is ultimately what builds character and what builds purpose in life, and I'm not willing to settle for second best. So those are my thoughts. Thanks for listening to the van talk that was not in the van. I'm going to go ahead and purchase another van here soon, hopefully this week, and I'll share that as well. And I'm going to probably document my journey of, building it out. And this time I want to meticulously document every part of the journey of building the van out, wrapping it, all the things that go into a van build out. Because I know a lot of you have a big goal, buy a mobile detailing van in 2025. So I want to show you how we approach it now that we're on the third build out. And then I also have to get the other one fixed so I can put it back on the road. But talk to you soon. Let's stay strong and let's crush 2025, brother.